Greetings, EastEnders fans, and welcome to another episode of Albert Square After Dark, your weekly EastEnders podcast. This week, discussing the episodes broadcast between the 2nd and the 5th of March 2026. Hello there, how are you this week? Are you well? Are you well? You're looking fabulous. Someone else who's always looking fabulous is Ree. Hello, Rihanna, how are you this week? You alright?
Oh, Rob, the flattery. Hello,
Yeah.
are you alright?
I'm
You look
alright.
you look fabulous too. Am I supposed to
Thanks.
return that?
I mean, ideally, yeah, it's the polite
Yeah, you
conversational
look
thing to
great.
do. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Normally, you don't ask, you don't check before you do it, but you
Am I
know,
meant to tell you that?
We're working on these social cues of yours. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, we're trying, aren't we?
Yeah,
It's
you're
work
very
in progress.
trying. Yes, you're really very trying. How has your week been? All right.
Yeah, all right. Not much to report. We had a bit of World Book Day. Yeah, it's
Yes,
World Book Day, isn't
it
it?
is
Is
World
it
Book Day,
actually
that's the thing,
across
yes.
the world? Does everyone in the world do it? Is
I
that a
think
thing?
I don't know if oh, that's a very good question. I don't know. I don't know if they do it in the Outer Hebrides or something like that. But I feel like it's more talking about books from around the world. You know, if you've written a book, you could be celebrated about.
Duh, is that what it is? It's World
think
Book Day
so,
about
yeah.
books from the world, not World Book Day. Everyone in the world's doing a book day.
I think so. I think they might do
Yeah.
it in places like America and Canada.
This is what I
or
was wondering,
possibly.
yeah.
Let
do
us
they
know
do
if
it?
you're listening from any of those abroad locations about your World Book Day. If that was a thing where you are, let us know. What did Amira do for it? Your daughter? Did she do anything exciting?
She dressed as a witch from Room on the Broom.
So
She likes Room on the Broom.
fabulous. She normally dresses up as a fairy, so now she's a witch, yeah, just for the costume sake of things.
Do you know what it is? She would do, like, full transparency, she loves princesses and all of that, but I want it to be
yeah.
quite like, you need to go as something to do with a book. I didn't want her to just turn up in a princess dress and be like, hey, it's Elsa from my Elsa book, when actually they're films first. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she does
yeah.
love a witch. She does love a witch. She does love witches' dresses and stuff. So it were a good excuse for her to dress up as a witch from Room on the Broom. But I was thinking, we didn't have this when we were kids, did we? What would you have gone as?
I don't think so. I mean, you know, back when we were kids, it probably would have been something like Harry Potter or something like that, wouldn't it? And we'd have
Yeah, I
all,
was thinking this. Or
Hungry
I was
Caterpillar,
a
or
Jacqueline. Yeah, there were a Hungry Caterpillar
or the
at
Roald Dahl stuff.
nursery.
That was Roald Dahl. That would have been a good
Oh
one to go
yeah, I
from.
did. I
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
Roald Dahl.
Willy
But I
Wonka
was
or something like
actually
that.
what were I liked Jacqueline Wilson books. I dare
Yes,
say I might have gone
yes.
as like Tracy Beaker or something
Yeah,
or
so
something
you're
like
gonna go
that.
you're gonna go as someone who's gone through the rehoming system as for World Book Day. I think that could work. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a book, isn't it?
It's a book. It's a book. I'd have
Do you
just
know what I
gone.
mean?
I'd have just gone as a book, and then
That would have
let
worked.
people work out their imagination from there. That's what I would have done. Right. Talking of characters and books, it's
Yes.
March now, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to change the calendar. Ree has made the calendar of Janine for 2026. So say goodbye to quite young
March
looking
should be
Janine
good.
there. Do you have any
I don't know
idea
what
what
it
it's
is.
going to be? No
No,
idea.
cannot remember.
Not a clue. So here is March, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, it's Patricia and Janine there.
And
Excellent.
prostitute Janine, I do
And that is
believe.
prostitute Janine, yeah. And Pat looking horrified, even though Pat is looking. I mean, Pat's literally looking at Janine there, like I recognise this. These are signs.
See myself in you there.
See myself in you there, young
Yeah.
Janine. Yeah, brilliant.
Any?
Oh, she had business cards made and everything, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah. What did they actually say? Does it? Can you see where it
It says
says?
blonde bombshell and then a phone number. Yeah.
Do you remember when you used to see those in phone boxes as a kid?
Yeah, I had a load,
Little
but
cards like
that's beside
that.
the point.
Is there anything important noted on there, Rob? Is March a good month at all? I don't know. Is
Mother's
there any-
Day. Mother's Day is on there. That's important,
Mother's
isn't
Day,
it?
is that it? Is that
Mother's
the only
Day,
one
yeah,
that's on
yeah.
there? Okay, fair enough.
Oh my God. What have you put on it? Like, so
What have I
obviously,
put? I can't actually remember.
Monday, the 9th of March, is Ree's birthday. And so because Ree made this calendar, she has marked her birthday on here as if I didn't know when her birthday was, as Ree, in brackets, is always right, close brackets, birthday.
That's what I put.
Are you proud of
Oh,
yourself?
I'm brilliant, aren't I? Yeah,
Oh,
right.
you're
I'm proud
such
of
a
myself.
genius.
That's a funny one. That's
Such
I
oh,
shouldn't
it's
have said
hilarious.
that about myself.
Not really. No, you're very
No,
witty,
I'm not
Rihanna. Well
doing well
done.
at this, am I today?
Right, let's start talking
Yes.
about this week's
Oh
EastEnders.
yeah.
Now,
What we're here for.
to say that brilliant episode at the end of the week, absolutely wonderful with all the
Yeah.
Nigel stuff and the return of Claire,
Very
absolutely
much.
fabulous stuff at the
Yeah.
end of the week. And thank God it existed because up to that point, it had been a bit of a trial, hadn't it? The week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. It's so odd sometimes. Because it's not like it's like a terrible week, but it's just like not all, it's like also not fantastic. Are our expectations too high these
My
days?
my problem, I think, with some of this week was some of the character stuff, which we'll get to when we get to
Yeah,
it.
fair.
No
Yes.
more so than in our first storyline discussion of the week, which was the Johnny, Callum, Tim, and eventually Max and Linda storyline. So let's get on with talking about that in this week's.
Albert Square after dark.
Right, let's kick off this week. We're talking about the Johnny, Callum, Max, Tim, Linda, Elaine, everybody
Et al.
storyline, et al.
Yes.
Right, my issue with this is the characterization that was going on in this storyline this week, all right? First off the bat, I
You
mean,
love the characterizations of this storyline. What are you on about?
I mean, it's just there was some motivations here that I didn't quite understand,
Yeah.
and some reactions that I didn't quite understand,
Yes.
and
Oh my God. Yes. Oh yeah. I forgot about that. That was at the
yeah.
start of this week. What on earth?
Who knew? I mean, that Elaine was going to be the one to point
Right.
out. Like, I actually stood up and was like, "Yes, Elaine, thank you very much," out loud when she said to Linda, "Your son has
Yeah.
been sexually assaulted." Because up to that point, I was
Hmm.
like, "Are they actually just going to brush that entire aspect of it
Yeah, they're going
away
to
completely?"
acknowledge that that's
Yeah,
what's
and it's
happened.
just going to be blackmail and nothing
But
else.
should it have not? Would it have not made way more sense for Linda and Elaine's reactions to have been the other way around?
It would have been. I'm very, very, very glad that they didn't do that, however, because Elaine gets enough shit. And
True. True.
from
Yeah. Yeah.
viewers
Fair.
sometimes.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And I was actually really, really pleased that Elaine was the one that stood up and was just like, "This is what has happened. This is the
Mm,
situation. This is not how you should be reacting to it." So I was really, really pleased with Elaine this
mm.
week. Talk to me about Linda's reaction to that, please. What was your initial
What?
thoughts on that?
Do you know what? Do you know what we do sometimes forget about Linda, right? Is when Johnny first ever came out, she weren't exactly
No, she
understanding.
wasn't.
So she does have these, character traits
Yes.
somewhat. But I feel like her character has developed a lot since then. And having
Well,
even more so with what she has gone through,
yeah.
would she really be reacting like that? Or could you argue that she's saying, well, it's completely different because actually you did consent? So she's trying to say you can't compare the two. Is that the
Yeah.
justification we're supposed to believe? Because
I
either
wondered.
way,
I wondered, to be fair, because I was sat there watching it. Like, on the face of this, I feel like I should be absolutely outraged that Linda is reacting like
yeah.
this because it feels incredibly out of character. But then
Mm,
I was sat there thinking about it, and I mean, maybe I'm giving them too much credit for this, but what
yeah.
I was also thinking was like, you could tickle away at Linda's elements here, and you could see an argument where she is someone who would look at that and think, well, because she's not. Linda, for all her praises and all the great things that Linda is, she's not exactly somebody who can fine tune herself into other people's emotions. Sometimes, is she? Like, she will sometimes take things at face value, and she will sometimes react quite badly to things.
You mean
Especially,
she's not always like empathetic, you
no,
mean?
not always. She does
Mm,
sometimes struggle with that, especially when it comes to her own family. You know,
mm.
so I
Yeah.
was sort of like, is she looking at that and not really thinking about the layers of what's actually happened to Johnny here because of what she's personally gone through? She's
Mm.
got a very sort of fixed idea of what that is. So can she separate the two and sort of look at it from a wider perspective and think, well,
Yeah.
actually, we've gone through something similar here, but with completely different paths? Like, is she
Yeah.
someone that could do that? And I'm sort of like, I don't know. Like, the thing is, it didn't feel like she learnt that lesson by the end of the week either, because Max
No,
got
this is
involved, and
it.
then
This
that
is
was
it. It
so.
was
It
just
feels
kind of
like,
forgotten about,
yeah,
weren't
this is the
it?
thing.
Her
Like,
reaction.
if she and Johnny had had a moment at the end of the week, but then by the end of the week, it's all Linda's fault anyway. So I don't quite know how
Yeah.
we ended up there.
Yeah.
But if her and Johnny, or at least her and Elaine, had had a moment at the end of the week where Linda had gone, "Oh my God, yeah, you're totally
Yeah,
right.
you're
That
right.
is
It
what
was
happened."
that.
Then maybe it could have been a little
Mm,
bit easier to swallow. But as it was just sort of like Linda just didn't believe that Johnny had been
mm.
sexually assaulted, and I don't know if that's the way that they meant that to come across.
Yeah, it was strange. And the only other argument I can think is that you could say that she was too busy being defensive about it being her fault because of obviously they found out that she'd already found out from Tim that it were all a setup.
Yeah.
How then saying it is all her fault and no one's actually blaming Tim there? Like, all right, fine, Linda should have said something, but it wasn't her doing it, was it? It wasn't her
I mean,
like doing the setup.
Linda being quiet about the whole thing made zero sense anyway, as it was, did it? Like, it felt like, why would she keep quiet about that? And then when Johnny tells Callum exactly what had happened, Callum's reaction I thought was odd as well. Just turn around and say, "You're just like Ben." What does that mean?
Yeah, I didn't get that well because he didn't know the details anyway. But my first thing was, God, I'd be pissed off if my new partner kept like comparing me to their ex all the time.
Yeah, which, to be fair, has been the catalyst for all of this anyway. The fact that Ben is just a spectre over their relationship, and Johnny, presumably, I think, was supposed to felt that he had to really do something quite extreme in order to sort of distract Callum from that spectre. But then
Yeah,
for Callum to say to Johnny, "You're just like Ben," after he's heard that he slept with somebody else, when the only time that Ben slept with anybody else was when Lewis raped him, I don't get what he meant by that exactly. Unless he was just saying something. What was he saying? I don't get what else
I
that could have
think,
been.
do you know what? I can't remember the exact details of that particular scene, but I don't remember thinking it was really to do with the fact that he'd cheated. I think it was more to do with the fact that he'd lied, that he was saying
Yeah,
it. It
yeah,
was the
maybe,
lying element
maybe.
rather than the cheating element. Even still, like constantly comparing him to your ex,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
move, like you all need to move on. Sounds
You
like
all,
actually,
everyone move
Callum.
on. Everyone move
Yeah,
on, please.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Just some of it was just, I think, done a bit clumsily, and the
I was
characterization
just
just
gonna
felt
say that some of it were
just
clumsy. Yeah.
felt a little bit off. It
Hmm.
was just odd in places. Max has come to save the day, however, because they're in the
Sure.
pub. And this is after Linda has kicked off at Tim, and Tim
Yeah.
is sort of like, well, she's a whinging Harridan, and Johnny is kind of flailing, trying to stop the situation getting any worse, and to sort of stop Tim from at any moment saying, "Do you know what? That money, nothing you can do. See you later," which is exactly what he ends up doing in the Vic later on. Max is sort of watching the situation because he's seen that Linda's is upset, and his spidey senses are tingling that this might be something that I can do in order to get Linda back into bed, which I'm still always convinced is always Max's main MO.
Y-
He Go on.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, I think it is to help Linda. I don't know if it is if it is quite as literally as he just wants to get her into
Am I
bed,
unfair
but
to
it's to
Max
do with.
sometimes? I don't know. I really don't.
I think his ultimate motivation is to be in Linda's good books, not necessarily just to get her into bed there. But like, yeah, he's obviously doing it
But
because he
being
wants
in
to
her good,
impress her.
but being in her good books does get him into her bed, though. To be
I mean,
fair,
you
doesn't
could
it?
argue that, but I don't think it's like what he's immediately thinking, like, well, right, so I did you that favour, now you
Mm.
owe me, Linda.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
into that
yeah.
bedroom. I don't think it's quite as literal as that, but
No,
yeah, he's
no.
still
But I
trying
think
to impress her nonetheless. Yeah.
it's just sort of like I look at Max when he's doing all this sort of thing, and you can just there's almost like a teenage side of him that's never ever left him throughout his entire life. Like he just sees it quite simply as if I help that situation, then me and Linda will get closer.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's sort of no different shading to that with Max.
Oh,
Um,
but is it that he does genuinely care though, and that he's just trying to, and this is his way of
yeah,
helping, and he thinks this is the best way for him to help?
I think the two can be concurrent. In all honesty,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that he can care about Linda and also care about getting his end away at the same time. I think there is. I think with Max, there's very little gap between the two, in my
I
opinion.
think I think he's a bit more caring than you give him credit for there
Maybe,
as well.
maybe. But then I just think forward to New Year's Day when he's getting married to somebody and there's a pregnant bird in the bed next to him. Now
I don't know who that pregnant bird is. Yeah.
may or may not be what it looks like on the surface, but
Hmm.
at the same time, Max is the sort of character that we could look at and think, well, yeah, obviously, because it's
Well, yeah,
Max, you know.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, Tim is in the pub and he orders a taxi. I'm fairly sure that I don't know if he saw Max or not, who paid that much attention to Max, but Max decides to masquerade, if you will, as
Good one.
a taxi driver and just turns up at the pub and goes, "Taxi for Tim." No, I don't think there's anything on the car or anything that says "I am a taxi," but Tim gets in. And is driven, I think, just around the
Did
corner
you?
because they're in that dodgy little street, aren't they?
Well, sorry, you're going to go, oh, you're brainry. But did you not immediately get suspicious as soon as Tim rang a taxi and didn't use an app? I'm like, what's he ringing a taxi for?
An
Who
app?
calls for a taxi? An app?
Oh, you mean an Uber? Why did he ring an
Yeah.
Uber? Do you mean? Oh, yeah, mate.
Well, book it on an app. Just book it on
Well,
an app.
because then we don't know that he's rang a taxi. It's as simple
Yeah, I
as that.
know.
Yeah,
Well, then
that's
Max couldn't overhear him ringing a taxi
exactly,
and
exactly. Yeah,
pretending.
yeah, yeah,
But that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. Immediately, I was like, that's suspicious. Why is he calling for a taxi and not just using an app on
I
his
still call for
phone?
taxi. I mean, in London, it's a
Is
different matter
it?
entirely.
Do
Yeah,
you?
We don't have Uber around here.
In it, oh, Addison Lee in London, other taxi companies are available.
I don't even know who you're on about now.
Oh yeah, it's what all like bougies use. It's like a step up in it from
Oh no, we've
Uber.
still
Other
got
taxi
horse
companies are
driven. We
available.
still have horse driven carriages around here. Like we haven't got anything that modern, to be honest with you. So he
Pick
masks a
up and
raid.
string that phone call, isn't
Pretty
it?
much, yeah. It's all run by steam and coal. So basically, Max takes him to a secluded area, and they have a whole
Yes.
bit of subterfuge where he's pretending that there's a flat tire and gets Tim to look in the back of the boot. Tim is an idiot, deserves everything he gets for doing this,
Yeah, no.
and then gets pushed into the boot and close it. And then Max just sits and chills on top of the boot for 10 minutes, pours a bottle of water over the car to pretend that he's covering it in petrol,
I thought it was petrol because I thought
but
surely
he
he'd
was
smell
drinking
the
it.
petrol. Oh, was he? Oh, right,
Yes.
okay, yep.
So
Okay.
I didn't think it was petrol
Well, you
from the
never
water.
know.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
And scares Tim basically into leaving the two of them alone, leaving Johnny and Callum alone, and giving Johnny the money, and then gets thrown out of the boot, messes his new coat up. And it would appear that that might be the last we see of Tim, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
Well, there are a lot of theories out there that he's involved in the New Year's Day stuff.
Well, let's not forget that Max gets arrested on New Year's Day for conspiracy to murder.
Mm.
Now, yes, you have been connected to the Mark stuff, which it very, very may well could be.
Oh, could
But
it? Could it, Rob? All right, okay,
if I can get
interesting.
my
Yeah,
words out, it could be. Yeah, very, 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 very well could be. But this it could also be this as well. So
it could be this. I'd be a bit disappointed if it were this.
why? Because
But then
it's
again,
not the theory that you've been pushing for the past 3 months.
no, no, not because of that.
Oh,
Like
okay.
whatever with that. It's just more that like I've not enjoyed this Tim thing. Like when you said last week that they could have really took his character in a different direction,
Built him
like
up
with
as
the
a character
cheese
a bit.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think would he get himself involved? I mean, he would
I mean, he
obviously,
would, yeah. I
maybe,
mean,
but I don't know.
my thinking is that Max hasn't exactly done a huge amount to cover his own tracks.
No.
So, when he threw Tim out of the car and did that whole thing where he drove back towards him and it looked as though Tim was just like, oh my God, he's going to hit me. I actually thought what Tim was doing there was studying his number plate.
Well, yeah, quite possibly. I mean,
And
the number plate
he
could arguably be irrelevant anyway, because it's from the car lot, isn't it? The
Yeah,
car. So,
true. But at the same time, I'm sort of like, Max
yeah,
did nothing to hide his face. And
no.
clearly he's connected to Johnny and Callum in some way. I
And
don't think it would
Linda.
take too much investigation from Tim's part to find out who Max is. So,
Yeah, it's just I don't know how dodgy Tim is to get it to the extent that it goes on New Year's Day. That had surprised me a bit. Sure,
mm,
he's a bit dodgy.
yeah.
Like, he knows people in the council and can pull strings, so he's dodgy in that respect.
Mm.
But I can't imagine him being that dodgy that he's like got hitmen and things and people
He's got a
like
very
that on
nice
his
house.
books.
He's got a very nice house and a
Yeah,
framed
but just
picture of
because you've got a
himself.
nice house don't mean you've got hitmen like to you. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Every
He
single.
doesn't.
Go on.
He doesn't strike me as that kind of villain. It's more that he's a bit of a like manipulative villain rather than a violent villain who's got like violent associates. That's my only
Maybe.
thinking with Tim. However, you could argue that we've not seen enough of him for me to decide that. So maybe he does. Maybe he is dodgy. Maybe he's the drug lord. You know?
That would be a twist, wouldn't it? Nobody would
Sure.
see that coming. There is a side of me that sort of almost wants him to do a bit of a return just to sort of see if we can just sort of build him up a little bit rather than just quite
Mm,
a 2D sort of villain that is very cut and
yeah.
dry, like I'm manipulative, I'm going to blackmail you into sex and then I'm going to get scared off and run away. I would like
Yeah.
if you're going to create a character like that, I'd like to see maybe a little bit more shading of him and if they bring him back they might be able to
Yeah.
do that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be heartbroken if we never see Tim again, but
Yeah.
I
It
wouldn't
does
hate it if we did.
how it's ended. So after all of this, it transpires that Tim's sent Johnny the money and they all lived happily ever after.
Yeah,
It
except
feels a
Linda,
bit
who's hated.
incomplete. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
except for Linda, but it all feels a bit incomplete, like the whole Tim thing, like for him to have been brought in for this to almost his exit to be off screen in a way. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Because
yeah,
we've not had him say directly, okay, I will never bother them again. And, it's just he's giving
yeah,
him the money. He could well then go, right, I'm just going to spend some time plotting my revenge now because
exactly. Yeah,
ain't no one doing that to me and, putting me in
yeah.
the boot of a car and getting away with it.
Or even if he's now given Johnny the money for his business, I don't see a way in which those two won't meet again, seeing as though they're both in law. So
Yeah, true.
can Tim
Oh,
sabotage him from the outside or something?
yeah, maybe. He doesn't seem like the guy who'd just leave it because he got locked in a boot. Sure, he was scared at the time. Let's not dispute that. But then when he's gone away and he's safe, there's
Yeah,
nothing to stop him from plotting some revenge of some
exactly.
kind.
Max
Yeah.
has no idea where he lives, and I think anybody in that situation, when you've got this ginger psycho threatening to burn you alive in a car, you're going to go, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll do anything you
Yeah,
say.
of
Yeah,
course.
absolutely fine. And then once ginger psycho is driven away, you'd be like, right, bitch, let me
He
consider
did
my next
still.
move.
Why transfer the money though? I guess he were already free by that point. He didn't
Yeah,
have to transfer the money.
true,
But
true.
like I say, that makes me think even more so that he's going to plot because it's like he's gone. All right, there's the money. You all think it's over, but it's not. So
I
yeah,
don't know. I
just
guess we'll see. In terms of Max and Linda, she's very, very grateful. And it appears that those two are going to start getting closer again.
don't you love that though, right? As soon as they all found out that Max had driven him off, they're like, "Oh my God, what's he doing, Max? What are you doing?" But then when it was actually successful, and they got the
Mm.
result they wanted, like, "Oh Max, you're amazing! Thank you so
Well,
much for doing that."
even Callum was sort of like, after he'd refused to initially refused to Tim to look on the police database to find something out about this guy, wouldn't do that. But he's very genuinely hoping that Max kills Tim, which won't get back at him in
Yes,
any way whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? It's just all those
yeah,
sorts of little clumsy
definitely.
little character moments where I'm sort of like, I don't know whose side everybody is on at this point. At this point, I
I
don't
think
get
yeah,
what
a
everybody's
hundred
motivations
percent.
are.
Because Callum straight away is like, well, we've got to report him. That's sexual
Yeah,
coercion. We
yeah.
must report him. I hope Max kills him.
Yeah, I mean, I was glad
What?
that
Which
Callum
side of the
managed to
law are you on?
I was very glad that Callum managed to very quickly, once he'd actually listened to what had happened, I was very glad that Callum managed to quickly identify that this is sexual coercion. I'm glad that
Yeah,
that was dealt with,
yeah,
and that he didn't remain angry at Johnny for long, and then
yeah.
gave him one of his trademark kisses on the forehead, which Callum does to boyfriends. He obviously used to do it all the time to Ben. But Johnny and Callum are now completely and utterly 100% against Linda. Johnny has moved out, and Linda is scum of the earth, and those two are moved in together. So I don't get why it's all Linda's fault, in all honesty. I really don't. As if she was always
I don't.
interfering in their relationship, seemed to be the implication. And
Yeah.
I'm sort of like, she hasn't done that much, surely, has she?
I mean, she could have. Yeah, sure. She could have told him. She could have
Should
told
have
him when she
told them.
found out,
Should have
right? But
told
it
them.
wasn't her fault. She didn't
No.
know that Tim. Would she have told them if she'd have known that was going to happen?
Yeah.
100%. She just thought, all right, it's a little test for Callum. She didn't know that Tim was then planning to blackmail them with this footage that he were going to record and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it don't make sense to me either. But maybe it's just so that Linda and Johnny have had a falling out. I don't know. But then Elaine's happy with Max now, isn't she? Is she going to be
Oh, yeah. Great.
Max's new number one fan? Do you reckon?
She's in the bed, pregnant on New Year's Day. What my words? Imagine she's the bride. Anything could happen.
Hey, you never know. No, he
Hey,
did say he's not. She's not his type.
hey, well, yeah. Well, everyone. How many times has
Well,
that been said in Walford over the years?
well,
You know.
there is that.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. But it was just a bit of a oddly. I mean, pacing. I thought was odd this week, and just some of the characterization and some of the dialogue and just some of the reasoning behind people's lines. It just felt a little bit clumsy for me. This story.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I don't think helps this sort of. It's a small but loud crowd on social media who despise Johnny because he's not Ben and
All right.
seem to believe that he is the sole reason why Ben and Callum aren't a thing anymore, and they just take it all out on him, and everything that Johnny does is like he's scum of the earth. I feel like they need to, if they're going to write stuff for Ben and Johnny, for Callum and Johnny, they need to, yeah, exactly. For Callum and Johnny, they need to sort of just be careful with that sort of thing because otherwise the audience aren't going to kind of relate to them as a couple that
And
easily. You know
they're
what I
not
mean?
going to ship Callum and Johnny.
No, I mean I don't
Which,
mind Johnny and Callum together. I feel like there is an element of them that could and should work, but it's sort of
sure.
like,
Do you know what? I feel as indifferent to Callum and Johnny as I did to Callum and Ben, if I'm quite honest.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's a
Sure,
big
whatever.
statement.
That's how I
Yeah.
feel. Well,
I was
sorry.
indifferent
At me.
to Ben and Callum. Brianna Raleigh, 2026. So, AI Anthony is no more. So that storyline that we were sort of excited
AI,
about, thinking, oh,
AI,
this
bye
could be,
bye.
yeah, AI, bye bye, Anthony. This could have been interesting. It's done now, and it's more about Kim and Howie and them getting back together. So, basically, as we suspected, Patrick has become quite dependent on AI Anthony.
For
He
2 days.
kind of keeps reassuring, well, yeah, keeps reassuring us that he knows that this isn't real, but it's helping him with the grieving process. But he's also like sat there with his headphones on, having full blown on conversations with AI Anthony, and just excluding the rest of the family, and they're all sort of just watching him concerned
Hmm.
and scared, basically, that they've lost
Yeah.
him to a computer. I did enjoy sort of Yolandi sort of looking at this. I feel like the Yolandi has no idea about any of this whatsoever. I'm just sort of like, he's talking to a computer. I don't understand why he's doing it. This is dangerous. What's going on? This is not God's work. What is happening? And yeah,
Yeah.
bless her.
I mean, arguably, it is God's work, though, Yolandi, if it's here. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
But
Kim decides to take matters into her own hands, and the way that she does that, she could have done anything. She could have spoken to him about it. She could have brought the rest of the family. She could have staged an intervention. No, she does none of that. She just nicks his phone, which is a quick
digital detox.
digital
Sure.
detox. Just there and then, you are now no longer allowed your phone. Just takes his phone. Howie has sort of become aware of the situation and figures that maybe he can help in some way because when Patrick discovers that Kim has nicked his phone, he kind of goes mad, shouts at her, and then Howie steps in and basically saves the day, doesn't he? He sort of talks to
Yeah.
Patrick, and by the time Kim's got home, Patrick's all sort of like, "Yeah, get Denzel to delete that app. That's fine. Let's have a rum together. Everything's fine and dandy."
Yeah, quite something that Howie managed to just convince him of all that, don't you think?
The power of rum. Um, So what this does is sort of kind of make Kim think, oh, actually, I do miss Howie a little bit because Howie talks to Patrick and says, I really, really do miss her. I wish I could get back with her. And so when he has this slightly tender moment with Kim after saving Patrick from
Hmm.
AI Anthony, he decides to stage an intervention in the Albert which involves him getting a load of drag queens together, him dressing in pink and singing "Baby Come Back" to everybody in the bar.
Genius.
I mean, I'd go back to him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolute genius. It was
Yeah,
great. It was fabulous. It was so
like that.
Kim. I can't believe how outraged she acted. It's
No,
like,
I know,
Kim,
right?
this is
You
so
love
you. What are
that.
you on
Shut up.
about?
And she did love it because she sort of stormed
Yeah.
out, and then 5 seconds later was sort of like, actually, yeah, no, I quite enjoy this.
Go
Yeah,
on
we can
then,
get
get
back
his money's
together.
worth.
Yeah,
Drag
exactly.
karaoke,
Why
go on
wouldn't
then.
you? I wonder how much that costs to get to hire two drag queens and
Well,
then
did you not think though, right, that we're a bit cheeky of Cindy? Because really, how busy is the Albert in the middle of the day? What day were it? What, like Wednesday? You're telling
yeah.
me at middle of a Wednesday that she couldn't have let him just do that and she could have kept the business open.
Mm.
Everyone else would have loved it. Imagine if you got, imagine going to like somewhere on Canal Street in
Yeah.
Manchester,
By
right,
the
in
way,
middle of the day,
this is
and
Cindy we're
that
talking
happened.
about. This is Cindy we're talking about. She
But
sees
no,
money
it were
opportunities.
oh, you want to perform on stage with two drag queens
Yeah.
in the middle of the day when I've hardly got any customers in anyway?
That'll
No,
be
you're gonna have to pay for
£300 a
the
drag queen,
entire
please.
venue to close. I'll put
Yep.
all the shutters down. It'll be a private event, so you must pay me for this private event.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? All
Entrepreneurial
right.
queen is our Cindy.
Clearly, clearly.
Um, and so by the end of all this, Howie and Kim appear to be back together, and all is well and marvellous.
Sure. What do you think to it then? Are you shipping
I
them?
mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind Howie and Kim. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad, at the very least, I'm glad that they're back together because now it feels like Howie's got a purpose again. Because without Kim,
Yes.
Howie is very sort of isolated as a character. Like, yes, he's got Denzel, but it doesn't seem like
Yeah.
the pair of them share that much screen time these days.
Well, I think at one point me and you thought, oh, Howie's just leaving, then they're writing him
Yeah,
out because
yeah,
that would have made sense if he didn't get back with Kim, to be honest.
mm,
But with Denzel staying, I think Howie should come back. And I think all that stuff that happened with Howie over Christmas and him like stealing stuff and all of that jazz, I don't know. I think a lot of it were just written as part of the Anthony storyline and Anthony's complete personality transplant
Pretty
storyline.
much. Pretty much.
Like, so forget about it and move on. I don't mind him. I'm all right with him being back together, to be
Yeah, I,
honest.
I can take them. You know, I think
Yeah,
they're an all right couple. They work quite well
yeah,
together. And Howie within the Truman family and the Truman household works absolutely great as well, you know, and
yeah,
hopefully this means that him and Denzel might sort of get some more screen time because I feel like both of them have actually not been on screen a huge amount lately, and Howie
yeah,
especially since he's broke up with Kim has barely featured whatsoever. So clearly he
yeah,
does need characters around him in order to be a relevant character. So give him that relevance, I say.
yeah, agreed.
Right, the rat has been sniffed out. The leak has been located by the plumber, Rihanna. We
Hey,
now know that Mark has worked out that Ravi is the grass. And all
took
this
him
kind
long
of.
enough, didn't it?
Tell me about it. It's not like he didn't have enough evidence given to him. This all comes about because Jack kind of takes Ravi aside and says, right, because you are clearly not doing us that great, and you're getting noticed, you know, by holding pharmacies hostage and such, we've decided to up the operation slightly, and we will be making some arrests today. Because we
Yeah,
know that there is a big pickup happening. We know where it is, thanks to your information. So we're going to be making arrests today, and that
yeah.
will send the message out to drug people all over London that we're onto them, and it will
Well,
never
that
happen
was
again.
it. It were a bit of a double bluff, though, weren't it? Because they were saying that they were all getting suspicious that they'd not had any kind of raid. So then Jack were
Mm,
like, well, we don't want them to know that we're onto the bigger fish. So we're just going to arrest a couple of smaller fish just to
yes.
put them off the scent so that they think that we're not after the bigger fish. Well,
Yeah, Walford police are just full of anglers, aren't they? They know all about fish and fishing and all
oh,
that kind of
I.
thing. Fish in small ponds. So yeah, Mark is supposed to be doing this big pickup, and Ravi feels a little. Now, what do you think? Does Ravi feel guilty at this point? Like, is he actually getting to quite enjoy Mark's company? Or is he just kind of scared about Mark that Mark's too close, so he doesn't want to identify
No,
himself? What do you think?
I do think that he's enjoyed Mark's company. I think he has. I think he's made a friendship with him that Ravi feels is genuine. But then there was that, there's something not quite ringing true for me. And I know it's supposed to be true. But when Ravi were talking to Priya and he was saying, oh, but they're going to do this sting and it's not fair that Mark goes down and I'm still getting away with everything. And oh no, I shouldn't be getting away with everything. And I thought, oh, come on with this redemption. Honestly, Ravi,
Not
like,
even
get
prayers like
over
that.
it.
Prayers like that. Will you get over
Yeah.
yourself, please? Pull yourself together, for
Yeah.
goodness sake.
Yeah.
Brief little conversation about Priya. Obviously, she's been doing some shifts in the Bat Fan, which I think is a shame to lose because I quite like her in the Bat Fan. I have to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Same.
But she has, it would seem, managed to get herself a job in the car lot. Lauren
Hmm.
basically because she upsells a cheeseburger to Lauren, and Lauren then goes, "Well, you're perfect for the car lot."
You're a great salesperson, aren't you?
It doesn't take
Brilliant.
much, does it?
Hired.
It does not take
No,
much to impress
evidently.
Lauren. It really doesn't. Now then, in terms of the future, because we've always got to be thinking about this sort of thing now, this puts Priya and Max in quite close proximity to one another. So could Priya be involved in New Year's Day somehow? What do we think?
Yeah, I do feel like it feels a bit random just sticking Priya in the car lot. So there
Yeah.
must be some kind of relevance as to why she's going there. So
Mm.
yeah, is it that she has an affair with Max? Is it that she has the affair with Mark? Or maybe she finds out about Lauren and Mark or something because she's working at the car lot?
I feel like they are setting something up with Mark and Priya, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
something.
obviously we are watching for Lauren and Mark, and that may
Mm,
still well be a thing. Because we keep getting reminded from Vicky that Mark is this big Lothario who loves the women, and yet we've not
hmm.
really seen that much evidence of that yet from Mark.
Yeah.
So I do wonder whether we are supposed to be keeping an eye on Lauren and Mark when actually Priya and Mark are going to be the ones that sort of come from behind the scenes and start an affair from there. And in terms of the drama. You can sort of see more drama coming out of this possibility that Priya and Mark have an affair, and then Ravi finding out about that
Mm.
because that'll help his mental health no end.
Yeah,
You know,
or Priya's going to offer herself in order to save Ravi, maybe. But I don't know
mm,
if Mark would be up for doing that kind of deal with her and being like, she says, well, why don't me and you sleep together and then you
mm,
can keep Ravi safe instead and have that kind of arrangement, maybe?
mm, yeah, something
But
to
like I
watch
say, I'm
there.
not sure if Mark would go there or if it'd actually just be that they end up having an affair.
Yeah, Something to watch
Mm.
there, I think. So anyway, this big pickup happens, and Ravi has decided that he wants Mark out of it. So he goes to where this has all been arranged, where the police are going to turn up and arrest all these people, and says to Mark, "All right, this is a bad idea. I've just got a feeling. I've just got a feeling you do this. Oh, I don't think we should do that, Rob. I've just got a feel. Why, really? I just got a feeling. Just got a feeling. It's
Always
not.
trust your gut. Always trust
Yeah,
your gut.
I've just got a feeling. Well, if you'd have done that with Mark, Mark would have quite quickly have worked out that you were the grass, Rihanna.
Yeah, he would have. I'm the
Mark has a
grass.
feeling. Mark has a feeling that you are the grass. Yeah,
Mm.
because literally the second Ravi starts
I
saying to
mean,
Mark, "This is I've got a feeling. I've just got a feeling. I've just got it. It's my gut. I've got an instinct. Something bad's going to happen here. I've got a feeling." The police turn up and arrest everybody, and Mark and Ravi just manage to get away.
mhm,
And Mark sort of says to Ravi, first off, "Well, I'd have been arrested if it weren't for you. Thank you very much indeed. God, you're a good mate. You're such a
mm.
good friend. Thank you very much." And then as soon as Ravi's walked off, he's on the phone to the big boss saying, it's Ravi. I've worked out who it is." So, what happens next?
Well, this is it 'cause I'm surprised that we've not already seen a little bit of what happens next this week. So I think they're going to bide the time, maybe do a couple of setups, maybe for
Mm,
Ravi, so they can
mm.
really clarify that it's him. Maybe give him some specific information that they don't give to anybody else. Then they'll definitely know that it's Ravi.
Yeah, well, Mark needs to play his cards carefully here, doesn't he?
Mm,
Because yes, he's got who he thinks is the grass, but at the
mm.
same time, he needs to not make it obvious to Ravi that he knows. So he needs to
Yeah,
keep Ravi close, but
yeah.
close enough that he can, but also far enough away that he can work everything behind the scenes that needs to happen. So
Yeah. Although you could argue that actually they could use Ravi, they could use knowing that it's Ravi to their advantage for a bit,
mm,
set up all these fake things, tell Ravi all this fake information. Meanwhile, they're doing the big stuff
yeah,
elsewhere while
do a
Ravi's got all this info.
do a Colleen Nolan and Rebecca Vardy situation, set him up.
Yes, yes.
It's Ravi Galati's account.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
definitely.
Sort that out. Yeah, there you go. Not
Yeah,
hard.
so maybe that'll be what happens, and then
And
eventually,
then
after they've done
Priya,
all of the stuff, we
then
get
maybe
Ravi.
Priya has to step in, and then
Mm.
maybe something happens there. Something
I
maybe.
mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because did we see Ravi and Priya on the New Year's Day episode?
No, I don't think we
No,
did. No.
because really, when you're thinking about this hostage situation with Lauren and Oscar,
Mm.
if that had have been Avani and Nugget, we could have figured out exactly what's going to have happened by New Year's
Yeah,
Day.
how has Max got involved in any of this? My only
If it is
thinking,
this,
well, maybe we might end up now that Prue is working at the car lot.
mm,
Something can happen with maybe cars and transport, and then maybe Max ends up getting accidentally involved that way somewhere along the line.
possibly, or Priya might say to Mark, "Look, keep Ravi out of it with the big guys. I'll provide you with some cars and stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
that kind of way."
maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, yeah.
But then how does Max accidentally end up getting his kids kidnapped and possibly one of them
Because he
dying?
is the drug lord, and it's all like a double, triple whammy for him.
Oh, it's yeah, maybe,
He's
maybe.
deputy drug lord, just to
Okay,
clarify. He's not
okay,
the drug lord.
okay,
Did you
yeah.
did you not think like obviously I know it wasn't that out of character with Max doing the whole Tim in the boot thing,
Mm.
but did you not think that with them showing a little bit of like, don't forget, Max is a bit dodgy, guys. This
I
is
think we
kind of
know that Max is. I think
Max.
we know that Max is dodgy.
I know, but I'm just saying, you think it were maybe a little reminder of, guys, don't forget, Max is capable of
Maybe. I
things.
mean, yeah, I know that you're absolutely convinced that Max is very heavy. Maybe he becomes involved in the drug game. I
Yeah,
don't
true. I
think
could see. Yeah,
I
maybe
can
he's
buy
not right
that.
now. Yeah,
I think I can
yeah.
buy that rather than he's been involved in
Mm,
this whole drug thing all
yeah,
along. I feel like he could become involved in it, and that would make sense. But
yeah.
the question of him being the big drug boss, or possibly the big drug boss's underling throughout the
Yeah.
entire process, I feel is a bit of a stretch. But maybe he becomes involved. I guess we'll
I
see.
hope you eat your words next year.
Yes, I know you do because you love it when I'm wrong and that you're always right. You've even put it on
Yeah.
my calendar. You are a narcissist. Right, let's now move on to the biggest storyline of the week, I think. This was the Nigel storyline and the return of Claire. So, to what I think was probably the strongest scenes of the week, and by God, by the time we got to Thursday's episode, I'm so gonna miss Nigel. I mean, not only because I feel like it's one of the strongest storylines on the show at the moment, so to lose that is going to be really sad, but also
Yeah.
every aspect of his storyline has just been perfectly played all the way through.
I'm hating it. Absolutely hating it.
The
because
fact
it's
that
so
he's
good. Because
yeah,
it's
yeah,
so
it's
good. I'm
hard. It's hard
hating
to
it.
watch. It's hard
It's
to watch.
I
Yeah.
cried. I cried when I first watched it. Then I did a little rewatch and I was like, why am I crying again?
To
I'm
cry again.
crying
I
again.
didn't cry this week. I was very impressed with myself. I was hard this week. I didn't
You're right,
cry.
hard, you aren't
I am
you?
right hard. I was expecting to because the Nigel stuff has made me emotional all the way through because I
Yeah.
love him so much. So to see him going through this has been really hard. So he is in hospital, lest we forget, for the pneumonia thing,
Hmm.
and he has nearly died. He came quite close to us losing
Hmm.
him. And the nurses sort of sit Phil and Julie down and say, I'm not saying he's going to die any second, but you might want to consider the fact that he might die any second, basically, is what they're saying to her.
Well, did they discuss the thing of, should something like this happen again, would you want him to be resuscitated? And
Yeah,
would Nigel want that? Because it's DNRs or things that people have,
yeah,
aren't they?
which is
Like a do not
always
resuscitate medical note where
an
people
uncomfortable.
ask for it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always an uncomfortable conversation to have at that
Hmm.
point, isn't it? And
Definitely.
so, but what they also get is a phone call from the care home saying, "We're ready. He can move in now. Marvelous." And so Julie and Phil have to sort of make the decision. I guess it's time. It's time to put him into the home. This is the best thing for him. It's the best thing for
Hmm.
us. And Phil at that point turns around to Julie and says, "I think you should ring Claire. It's fair that she knows because she gets a chance to say goodbye." And Julie at first is very, very reluctant to ring Claire,
Hmm.
but she does in the end, thanks to Lexi getting involved because Lexi kicks off. Phil's telling her about what's going on, and Lexi just takes it upon herself to just storm into the Vic
Hmm.
and kick off at Julie because of everything that happened with Lola. There's an understandable path to get there, but she persuades Julie to ring
Hmm.
Claire, and Claire arrives. And I'm
Yeah.
so pleased she
Well,
did because we've been begging for a Claire
yeah,
reappearance at some
we've been
point.
waiting it. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have felt right if she'd have
No.
not come back. Do you feel like that was right though? Like, do you think that Julie should have rang her a lot sooner, or do you think Julie was within her rights to not contact her?
I mean, I can believe everything that Julie has been saying, that she tried to ring Claire during the period where Nigel was missing and
Yeah,
Claire gave her absolutely nothing back. So
yeah,
I mean, I can see it from Julie's perspective that she's like, oh, well, you weren't interested then. So, and you've left me to do all of this on my own. I'm the one that's had to deal
mm,
with Nigel throughout this, and you've shown no interest whatsoever. So,
mm,
why should I ring you? That said, she should have rang her because
yeah,
at the very least, what she should have done is leave a message on Claire's phone. Your dad's got dementia. Um, you should probably come and see him. You should probably come and visit him rather than your dad's got dementia and he's probably going to die soon. Uh, I
yeah.
feel like maybe
She
at
should have
least
let her
leaving the
know.
message,
Yeah,
yeah,
she should have
and
let
give
her
her the
know a lot
choice.
sooner.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
This is the thing, isn't it? Claire might have not been in touch with him for a number of years, but that
mm,
becomes irrelevant when it's something as serious as this, I
yeah,
think. And
yeah,
Julie should have just told her a lot sooner. So I think Claire was quite within her rights when she did
mm,
see Julie to be like, I can't believe you're only just telling me. She
mm.
turns up and then finds out he's going into a care home.
Yeah.
Like,
I
you
mean, it's
are?
rough, isn't it? It is rough. Yeah,
Yeah.
and clearly, I feel like there's an element of Julie. That I feel like there is an element of slight punishment from Julie at that point, isn't there?
Yeah, it just wasn't. I mean, Julie got all like this about people not telling her about it. Then she
Mm,
shouldn't have done the same to Claire either because
that's
Claire's his
true.
daughter at the end of the day.
That's
So she
true.
should have told her and she could have made her own informed decision then, Claire, about what to do,
Yeah.
like moving forward.
I can understand Julie's perspective, but I also sort of agree with Claire, where it's sort of like, you should have
Yeah.
told me. You should have told me sooner.
Ultimately.
I might
Yeah.
not have come. I might not have answered the phone, but you could have given me that choice in order to
Yeah.
sort of decide what I wanted to do. But
Definitely.
it also does give Claire a weapon quite quickly in the situation, doesn't it? Because she beats
Yeah.
Julie with that stick for the rest of the week, doesn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
But she turns up. Nigel's in hospital, and Nigel, of course, doesn't really recognise her. And why would he at that point? It's there's no
Hmm.
he's Claire has given him no reason to recognise her at that point.
I don't know. Gemma Bissix hasn't really changed much though, has
No,
she?
you
She's
think
not
that you can look at?
aged.
Oh yeah, are you not that bird from Hollyoaks? Is that not what? Is that not what's happened here?
That other Claire.
The Claire. Gemma Bissix, I thought was marvelous this week. She really, really
Yeah,
was. Yeah, she
I
was
agree.
brilliant. Slotted back in perfectly. The interplay between
Definitely.
her and Julie was fantastic. That really worked.
Yeah.
It made me kind of wish that she'd come back sooner because actually I feel like this could have been something that they could have done for a while. I get it, logistical reasons. She's been in Hollyoaks. They
Yeah.
probably would have wanted her to come back sooner, but it wasn't going to happen
Yeah.
because of a work commitment. What can you do?
Yeah.
And I also feel like this is probably the last we're going to see of her as well, because I think that she's back at Hollyoaks now. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
she's
were a
going to
bit
come back for the funeral.
I got that impression that she's not going to come back again now. This is what we've seen of Claire
Mm.
and that she's not going to come back.
She's
I
done
got
her
that
duty.
impression.
Yeah, she's done
It
her
just
duty,
felt,
and
I mean, if so, her goodbye wasn't very, like, big,
well, she
was
got
it?
yeah, she got, I don't know, she got a punch in the nose, and
And then
then
jetted.
yeah, I get that though. I get that from
Oh,
Claire's
yeah,
character.
yeah.
I get that from Claire's character completely. Like when she
Mhm.
said, "Tell him I'll visit him," I was like, you're never going to visit him."
You're not going
And
to come
that's
back
not
again.
even, yeah, and that's not even me saying that. With the
Mm.
meta thinking of that's because you're back in Hollyoaks now. It means, yeah, no, Claire's gone. That she would never come back after that. I don't think.
I feel like for Claire, she's probably thinking, I need to leave it on the high. I had that conversation with him where he recognised that I was me.
Mm,
We had a conversation about old times. Then she's thinking, and then the next conversation is it me. Let's leave it on a high.
mm,
I'm not going to bother coming
yeah.
back. Yeah.
I did love that whole scene in the Vic. I thought that was really, really nicely done. Because well, Claire and Lexi effectively kidnapped Nigel and take him back to Walford. Lexi's involvement in all of this, you got to be fair. Parallels between Claire and Lexi at that stage, like that was really well handled. I really liked that.
Yeah, it was, and how Claire took to Lexicas it straight away because obviously Claire can
Yeah,
sometimes be quite standoffish.
yeah,
How can you not though with Lexi? She wins everyone over, doesn't
she
she? She's got a
does.
charm to her, that
Yeah,
kid.
even Johnny's
Yeah,
buying her jewelry. She knows
yeah,
what she's doing. Dyslexia.
she does, doesn't
Um,
she?
we got another Lola video this week.
We
I
did,
don't know whether it's
sure.
I don't know whether it's one we'd seen before. I can't remember, but
I don't remember seeing it before, but it also feels quite realistic that this is what Lexi would do to people when she's
mm,
talking about them. I mean, it's so 2026, isn't it?
yeah,
Like we're of this time where she's showing people, here's a video my mum left me. In a
yeah,
way, that's like lovely, isn't it, for
mm,
kids if that's the thing that
yeah.
happens? But yeah,
And
crazy that we're
also
still
there's
seeing him.
there's a sign there's a sign of it. So are you going to say no to my dead mum? Are you? Go on, I dare you. Are you going to do
I
that? Yeah,
mean,
yeah. But they take Nigel back to Walford, leaving Julie and Phil sort of panicking because Nigel just disappears from his hospital bed. Lexi has managed to sort of set up this whole entire party at the Vic,
of
like
course.
on the community page, and everyone has rallied round. Fair play to them. There's banners up, there's food been made. Everyone's sort of waiting there to wish Nigel goodbye. It felt like quite classical sort of community scenes at that point, which I really liked.
Yeah, I liked it as well. And it were Nigel's, this is really his last time on the square
Yeah,
moment
it
and
did feel
last
like
time
that,
in the
didn't it?
Vic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and they
Even
shared some.
Oscar said it when he drove off, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, bless him. It felt really nice, and it did feel like Nigel's final day on the square as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because he then is taken straight to the home and doesn't react well to it. And again, that felt so real. The fact he's so disorientated. He's got these new people sort of prodding and poking at him and telling him to get into bed, and it's just really overwhelming for him. And Phil can't handle it. Phil, another great performance from Steve McFadden, obviously. Is this what got you?
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phil crying, I can't deal with Phil crying. It's too much for me.
Mm,
That's when it hit me. To be fair, I think the last time I cried, it was Julie.
yeah.
But this time I was like, I'm going to hold it in. And then Phil started crying. I'm like, oh, God.
You wait till they
When they were
start crying
talking about,
you wait till they start crying together.
well, you
You're
know
gonna be
what
a
else
mess
they'll be
then.
doing together when that
Yeah.
happens. You know what I mean?
I see. There was more signs of that this week, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm really struggling to see what you hate about it because I look at them and I just think you're working. You really
Because it's
work
not
together.
right for Nigel.
Nigel will be gone
This is just,
soon.
no. Literally jumping in his grave, Rob.
Yeah, yeah. That's
He's
the
not even in the
EastEnders.
grave yet, and
No,
you're talking about Phil jumping in it.
support for each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Julie is actually just such because I was watching Julie this week and I realised that like there's something so earthy about her that Phil has
Yeah,
not been with before, and I really just like this isn't the likes of Sharon or one of your normal sort of like makeup to hell. Like, don't get me wrong, Julie's a beautiful woman, but she's not one of these
Dolly
sort of
Bird.
not one of these dolly birds that Phil often ends up with. Sharon or someone like that or Kat. This makeup to hell, perfect airbrushed women. Like she is, and it feels like she's really sort of perfect for this rejuvenated version of Phil.
Yeah, probably Rob, but
I
still
hope
don't
you
want
eat
it to
your. I
happen.
hope you eat your words, Rihanna.
I know I'll be eating my words. I
Yeah.
know that it's going to happen. I
Yes.
just don't want it to.
This
But
time
there we
next year,
go.
we're both going to be full up with words, aren't we?
Do you know
The
what?
pair of us.
I'll probably after a week of being together, being like, yeah, it's amazing. I don't know why I said I hated it. I love it. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. But
We'll
right
see.
now, I'm still not shipping it.
we'll see, we'll see. But yeah, Nigel's in the home, and this looks to be where he's going to stay. Now, is this? I mean, this isn't the last of Nigel yet, do we think? I'm not sure. I
I
feel
don't know,
like
Rob.
sporadic from this point, if anything,
I
until
feel
his
like
death.
we've been. Oh, you mean we're going to keep seeing Nigel in
I don't know.
between?
What do you think?
I don't think Phil's going to go. Did you get the impression when Phil were talking to him that he was like, I can't do this anymore, as in like he didn't want to visit him in the care home as well because it's too painful,
Yeah,
maybe?
I mean, this is the other side of things that I feel like they've done and portrayed really, really well with this storyline is the realism of putting
Mm,
a loved one into a home and it's sort of like
yeah.
how difficult that is, not only for the person that's going into the home, but also the choice that you're having to make
Hmm.
in order to do that to somebody. Like that
Yeah.
is really, really rough to go through, and I feel like they really portrayed that well this week. And the idea that Phil wouldn't be able to see his best mate in a home purely because he feels guilty about it, because he feels like he failed Nigel deep down and let him down. And it's sort of like, can you go and constantly visit him? Do you know that Nigel's going to know who you are the next time you go and see him? Like it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Sorry, it's making me think about family stuff that.
Yeah, exactly. This is the whole
Yeah,
storyline, isn't it? It's difficult. It really,
it's
really is
it's
hard.
horrible. It is a thing like when you put like I can genuinely relate. Like
Mm,
you just feel guilty every time you go to visit your family when they're in a
yeah,
care home because
yeah.
you think you failed them and everything, even though deep down you know it is actually better for them.
Mm,
And there are arguments that I would say that care homes are actually good when people are in this kind of position. They get very institutionalized very quickly because
mm,
care homes are so routine. It's very like 8 a.m. breakfast,
mm,
12 p.m. Lunch, 2 p.m. snack,
mm,
4 p.m. dinner. So in that way, there's actually a bit of normalcy for them
mm,
whilst they're there,
mm,
which can be good, especially when they've got these kind of like elderly conditions.
mm,
But you still feel like shit every time you go in. I
mm.
can't lie, because you
Yeah,
just
no,
feel like,
absolutely. Yeah.
have I done the right thing really? Like, I don't know. Can you ever put yourself in that position though? Like Nigel did say all this. He never wanted to, inverted commas, burden Julie with all of this anyway.
Yeah.
Do you think if you were older, you'd be a? Because I feel like I'd want people to do that. I feel like if I was going to be too much of a burden for people to look after me, I'd want them to put me in a care home so that
I
they
don't
didn't
know.
have to.
I honestly
I think
do
that's
not
how I'd
know.
feel
Yeah,
anyway.
I honestly do not know how I would feel about it. I mean,
Mm,
yeah, you don't want to make things any more difficult than is necessary for the people that are looking after you and the
yeah,
people that are around you and your loved ones. But at the same time,
I know.
it's also the fact that you've got to face up to the fact that this is where you are now. This is your
Mm,
situation. This is your position. Like that is something very personal to go through. I feel like
yeah,
it's something that everybody's a little bit scared of deep down, you know. So it's hard. It's an
yeah.
impossible position to be
It's all
put in.
circumstantial, isn't it?
Yeah,
All these
completely,
decisions. Yeah,
completely. And I'm sure for some people it is the very best option for them, and then they know
yeah,
it's the very best option for them. And for
yeah.
some people, it's probably easier than it is for others. But it's for some, and
Hmm.
especially in Phil and Julie's circumstances, it's an impossible decision. And I feel like they've portrayed that so well. So fair play to them.
See, something they touched on this week as well with all of this with Nigel that I don't think they specifically said, but it's something I felt as well. Like in real life, making everything relatable, but and I think it's been very apparent with Julie and Phil that they are grieving whilst he's still here because you're grieving for the
Yeah,
person you know has gone. And I think Phil touched on it a bit and said, it's like his body's still here, but the actual
mm,
Nigel's gone now. But you're still grieving
yeah,
for him, even though they're still here. And there's something.
yeah.
It's such a strange
Yeah,
feeling
and
that.
Julie sort of touched on that with Yolandi as well, didn't she? When she was talking about the
Mm,
flashes that are there sometimes, and
yes,
it's
yeah,
like she was almost saying like that's the reason you're keeping him at home and around
yeah,
because you are looking for those flashes rather than that being something for them. Him
hmm,
being at home with them. Actually, what you're doing is keeping him around in the hope that you will see these flashes, in the hope that you will have a good day and reassure yourself that it's a good idea to keep him here. You know, so and when she eventually turned around to Landy, it was like, he's gone, isn't he? Like, he's gone. This is the Nigel I loved has sort of
yeah,
has gone away. This is a shell of a human being. It's heartbreaking. It really,
yeah,
really is. And I'm really glad that they're not shying away from it and
yeah.
they're showing how shit it is. They
Do you
really,
know
really are.
what? I'm actually because we were wondering, are they going to kill Nigel off before he goes to the care home. And I'm actually glad that they've not, because I think that this way
Yeah.
they are showing the full journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
Mm.
actually, the few times that I've seen Alzheimer's done on soaps, actually, what they do, they kill the person off by now in some horrific accident.
Yeah.
The bath scene with Nigel would have been normally when that stops. The
Yes,
storyline
agreed.
ends
Yeah.
ends there. And
Hmm.
actually, what they're doing here is they're going for the full process. The only thing we haven't really seen in Nigel's storyline is the initial diagnosis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, absolutely fair play to this era for
Hmm.
getting this absolutely spot on, I think, because they could
Yeah,
have
definitely.
gone down the quicker option and they really, really haven't done that. And the addition of Julie into the situation, I feel like everything's been dealt with absolutely perfectly and they've
Yeah.
nailed it. And everybody involved has been fantastic in this storyline.
Literally.
So,
Yeah.
absolutely cannot praise this enough.
Hmm.
Gold star this week, Ray.
I'm stuck because I kind of want to give it to Phil,
Mm,
but do you know what? I don't think I've given it to Nigel enough because, oh my days, he's just Paul Bradley is just so good at it, isn't he? Like,
yeah, it's
you
amazing.
forget when you see like little clips of him like not being
Mm,
Nigel, you're like, oh my
yeah,
God, yeah, he's like actually not
yeah,
got dementia.
absolutely.
He's so good at acting it. So do you know what? I'm going to give it to Nigel actually because I don't think
Fair.
I've praised him enough. Yeah.
And I think for me it's Julie. I mean, it's a tough one this
So.
week. Or is it Phil? It's a tough one this week for me because anybody involved in this storyline is deserving of it, quite frankly.
Mhm.
I think I'll give mine to Julie, but all of them deserve it. All of them have nailed it. Well done. Let us know who your gold star is going to. We've got a little bit of news, and then we'll move on to comments from you. So let the spoiler sirens blare because we have huge news, ladies and gentlemen. She's found her son. What is Zoe Slater going to look for now? Because she is in for a shock this month when her long lost son and Jasmine's twin brother Josh, who is going to be played by Joshua Vaughan, arrives in Walford, having followed his adopted mother Sandra Goodwin, who's going to be played by Dawn Steele, to Albert Square. Sandra turns up seeking answers about Jasmine, unveiling new details from her past and insight into Sandra's version of events. Meanwhile, and unbeknownst to Sandra, Josh has followed her to Walford looking for her, not knowing his birth family are closer than he realises. Yes, so from what I can gather, Sandra is a temporary thing, and obviously
Mhm.
Josh is going to be a new regular character.
Yeah.
Bless him. Looking at this profile picture of Josh with the dungarees going, we've seen Bad Boys cast on the square, big straight Bad Boys. I feel like the dungaree thing doesn't normally get applied to those sorts of people. I feel like the rumours and thought process of him and Oscar might well be a
Yeah.
thing, don't you?
Oh,
Not,
definitely.
not that I like to, judge a book by its cover or anything, Rihanna, as you well know, but
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
go on.
something that we have discovered with all this then is that Jasmine and Josh haven't grown up together.
No, so separate adopted
Upbringings.
parents.
Yeah.
Yes. So we don't know how they have got back in touch with one another.
Yeah.
I will say I'm excited for this next stage of the storyline. I always
Yeah.
like new characters. I'm always excited to see new characters and
Hmm.
what they're going to bring to the show. The potential for him and Oscar. I mean, like I've always said, Oscar can do no wrong. So I'm
Yeah,
looking
sure.
forward to that. See what he brings to the show, and
Mm.
everybody's very excited to see Dawn Steele as well because she's a great actress who's done a lot of
Yes.
British drama. So
Hmm.
it's going to be great to see somebody of that caliber on the show as well. So yeah, bring all that on. I'm excited. Emails and comments this week, Ray.
Well, Rob, we've got an email here from Paul Graham, and the subject title is is right.
Oh,
So
for God's
automatically,
sake! Of
here we
course you're
go.
reading this one out, aren't you? Go on then.
It says, "Hi, both. Again, thank you as always for the pod. Genuinely starts my weekend off right. Sat here bored and started thinking about EastEnders. I think Ree is right. Max is the deputy manager of Drug Lords PLC. Telltale signs. Max always has money. That's what I've been telling you, Rob.
Mm.
Max refused Ravi the car lot job with little explanation, and he didn't apparently know Ravi, so why didn't he even give him a chance to speak? Does he need him to stay at the drug company? Max knows Mark in the flash forward, waving at him, and Mark is around the police when he gets arrested. Max's kids have a gun to the head in the flash forward. Plus, hang on, Paul. Plus, Ree knows what a drug crime deputy lord looks like.
I
Thanks,
mean, I
Paul.
mean, I mean, he does have a point there. if
I'm being
anything,
fair. Yeah,
if
you
anything,
see?
you've got an unfair advantage with this storyline because you
So if
recognise the
anything, you should have
signs.
been taking my word from the
That's
start on
true.
this
I
one,
should have.
Rob.
I've
Do you know what I
underestimated
mean?
you on that. I forgot how heavily involved in the drug world you actually are. So, I mean, AI
Yeah.
even knows that with you. So
Oh
it's
my God. That blew my mind last week. Oh,
I know.
how does it know
Absolute
this?
madness. Absolute madness. I mean,
But
you never
yeah,
know. You never know. So thank you very much for that email. I'm fully prepared to eat my words. I'm fully prepared for it. I've got my condiments ready on the
I
side.
really hope he is now because
I
I'm
know you
pushing it
do.
quite
I
hard at
know
the
you do.
moment.
Yeah, you really are. And I
It's just
can't
still the
wait.
cash. It's the wads of cash, and I feel like
Yes.
you think it's more irrelevant than I do. So
Mm.
I'm interested to see who's right on
I
that
just
one
think it's
because maybe
always
it
been a
is.
max. I just think it's
Yeah,
always been a
I
max
know.
thing. I
I
really
know.
do. But like I say, I've got condiments and my knife and fork ready, as you have about the Phil and Julie thing. You know, we're
Yeah.
going to be
Okay.
full little podcasters when we've
Oh,
finished with all
wow,
these
we're full of
storylines, aren't
those
we?
words. Yeah.
Full upon words. We're going to be like dictionaries. Laura Kay has said about Thursday's episode, yet another brilliant and moving episode. They are doing a fantastic job with Nigel's storyline and giving it the dignity it deserves. Now I just hope that this isn't the end of Nigel, and I hope they do not give him an off-screen death and funeral. This needs to be seen through to the end. Gold star this week to Phil and Lexi. I think I cried for pretty much the entire second half. I know that not everyone will agree, and that's okay, but I think Ben Wadey is doing an excellent job. He's managed a good mix of old and new, and not just because he's bringing back old characters. The show just feels a little more like it used to, but at the same time, it feels fresh. He's also quite masterful in his use of music. He's not perfect, of course, but overall, I'm enjoying the show more now than I have for a while. Anyway, onwards, can't wait to see Grant again. Hey, there you go. All opinions welcome. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with this era, I think that I feel like a lot of people are maybe comparing it to a previous era that we speak of now and again when we talk about the dark times of EastEnders. I don't think we're there yet. We're not there with this era what's
No,
with
I
at
agree.
all. You know,
No.
it's. I think that we can be quite sort of reactive to EastEnders sometimes, and
Mm.
sort of panic stations are reached quite
Yeah.
quickly sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
Um, we're not there yet at all. And I feel like actually the difference between then and now is I feel like Ben Wadey does know the show. Like he knows the characters, he
Yeah, you
knows the
do.
character
Yeah.
gold, he
Yeah.
knows the history.
And to me, it's very apparent that he loves the noughties and 2010s
Yeah,
era from what he's been doing
which
with
is
it as well.
fine.
That's very apparent. Yeah, totally. Like,
Yeah.
that's like I feel like there's like a certain demographic that'll
Mm.
appreciate that, like maybe
Yeah.
our age and a little bit younger than us as well,
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Yeah.
I just feel like, maybe sometimes the construction of some of the storyline, like the Johnny and Callum storyline being the
Yeah.
prime example, can just sometimes just take a little bit more care
Well,
doing that bit, and I feel like we'll be all right.
do you know what I hope for? Because with this Max Flash Forward thing, right? We had all this Zoe stuff and who's the kid, and straight away, as soon as Jasmine came on, everyone went, "Well, it's her," and then we got
Mm,
all like double, triple bluffed,
mm,
and actually, it just was a really underwhelming
yeah.
result when we found out. So I hope that they don't go down the obvious with the flash forward and that we do actually have some decent twists in it to kind of make up for the Zoe thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
You know what
feel
I
like the
mean?
way where we are with the flash forward at the moment, there's still a lot up in the air. I don't think
Yeah.
anything feels necessarily obvious at the moment.
Well, to me, it seems obvious that Linda is one of the women,
Mm.
possibly the bride.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that I will not be enjoying eating my words about if that's what happens on New Year's Day.
Final comment here from Jodie Kelly, who says, fantastic episode, well written and produced. This is talking about Thursdays. The best episode of Ben Wadey so far. I'm satisfied if we don't see Nigel again, but they could do another special episode in about a month's time about Nigel in the care home because everyone in Walford has said they'll visit him.
Yeah, I bet they say that. I bet they don't. Um,
Well,
yeah, I feel like Grant's return is going to be a big part of this. I said this
yes.
before. I wouldn't mind. Like when we had Phil in the hospital,
I was
that
just
sort of
thinking the same.
special episode with Nigel in the care home. I think that's got a lot of
Yeah,
potential for it. Yeah, I don't think we're quite done with the Nigel stuff yet. I feel
yeah,
like maybe I very much I feel like he's probably got about a week's worth of appearances left, and we're
yeah.
just gonna sort of, Julie will go and visit Nigel, but we won't necessarily see it.
I
And
feel it
then
like it'd be, I don't even know if nice is the right word, but just a little couple of scenes from
mm,
going to visit would be good for us to see, seeing as though we've
yeah,
followed the journey so much. But I
yeah.
agree, we don't need to see every single visit when they
No,
talk about it.
I feel like from here it's going to be quite sporadic appearances for
Yeah,
Nigel until
yeah.
his final week, whenever that may be.
Hmm.
But to say I'm looking forward to it is possibly a little bit overzealous.
Yeah.
It's going to be heartbreaking, but
Looking
like I said
forward to seeing
earlier,
how it plays out
yeah, and
from
looking
here.
forward to
Yeah.
them continuing to treat it with the dignity that it deserves, and they really, really have done with this.
Yeah.
So absolutely
Agreed.
fair play. Right, that's it, ladies and gents. If you'd like to get in touch, you could do the following.
You can find us on Facebook at Albert Square After Dark, on Twitter and Instagram at E20 After Dark. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple and wherever you find your podcasts. Drop us an email at e20afterdarkpodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by going on buymeacoffee.com/E20 After Dark.
Yes, you can indeed. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back same time next week. Until then, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
See you then. Goodbye.
Bye.